Welcome students of class 9 to the discussion on the topic Rotation and Revolution, which is chapter 3 of your textbook. Like all other planets in the solar system, the earth has two types of movements, and these two movements, one is rotation and the other one is revolution. The earth rotates on an imaginary axis and takes nearly 24 hours to complete one rotation. The period taken for one rotation is called a day, and this rotation can be compared to the spinning of a top on its axis. In the similar way, the earth also rotates on its axis, and this rotation is completed in a time duration of 24 hours. This is also referred to as a day. The earth also revolves round the sun. The path along which the earth revolves around the sun is called its orbit. Now, the orbit is an imaginary path. It is elliptical in shape, and this path is taken up by the earth as it moves around the sun. In fact, all the other planets also take up an orbit, a path, imaginary path around the sun while they are revolving around the sun. The earth revolves around the sun is called as the orbit. The orbit has an elliptical shape. This means that the distance between the earth and the sun is not the same during the course of its revolution. Elliptical shape can be compared to the shape of an egg, where you have one side, one end of the egg which is a little broader and the other one is little narrow, and as the orbit also takes up the shape of a ellipse, so we can imagine that the distance between the earth and the sun does not remain the same during the course of its journey around the sun. At a particular period, the earth is nearer to the sun. It is called as the perihelion, and at the other time the earth is quite far away from the sun, which is called as the aphelion. One revolution is completed in about 365 and 1/4 days. Now, this is termed as a year. So, to complete one revolution movement once around the sun, the earth takes a time period of 365 and 1/4 days. This is a period which is called as a year. The rotation and revolution of the earth have important consequences affecting our environment. You know it very well that it's due to rotation that we are able to experience day and night. There are other phenomena which are also associated with rotation. Similarly, revolution causes the changes in the season. So these are two dramatic events which takes place on the earth's surface. So these are the important consequences which affects the environment. Rotation of the earth, its direction, speed, day and night occurrence. The earth rotates on its own axis once in 24 hours, causing day and night. You know, day and night, they occur in alternation. The axis is inclined at an angle of 23.5 degrees from the vertical, or 66.5 degrees towards the plane of its orbit. Remember children, the axis of the earth is not vertical. It is slightly inclined, and the angle that it forms with the plane of the equator is 23.5 degrees away from the vertical and 66.5 degrees from the plane of the equator towards the plane of its orbit. The axis is always inclined in the same direction towards the pole star during the revolution. So during the period of revolution, the axis is inclined always in the same direction, the north pole pointing towards the pole star and the south pole is away from it. It's just in the opposite direction. The tilt of the earth's axis is also known as the inclination of the earth's axis. Now, the axis of the earth is inclined at an angle of 23.5 degrees from the vertical, and this is known as the inclination of the earth's axis. When the earth rotates, only one part of the earth's surface which faces the sun experiences daylight. The other half of the earth which is away from the sun's rays experiences darkness. You may be knowing it very well since the earth is spherical in shape. So one part of the earth which will face the sun will have day, and the other part which is away from it, that is the opposite side of the sphere, will be in darkness and it will experience night. The circle of illumination is the imaginary line that demarcates light from darkness, that is day and night. Now, the circle of illumination is a zone which demarcates the darkened portion from the lighted portion of the earth. As the earth rotates from west to east, almost every part of the earth's surface comes before the sun at least once a day. Since the earth rotates in a west-east direction, we see the sun rising every day in the east and setting in the west. Now I would like to tell you something, children, that the rotation of the earth takes place from west to east. That means the movement of the rotation of the earth takes place from west to east. So that means the movement of the earth is taking place towards the east. Now all those heavenly objects which are in the eastern horizon will gradually appear above the horizon in the eastern part of the earth, and they will rise to the upper limits of the atmosphere, that is in the sky. And that is how we are able to view the other heavenly objects, that is the moon, the stars, and all the other heavenly objects, to be rising in the east, even the sun rising in the east and moving towards the west, because the earth rotates from west to east. That means it is moving towards the east. As it takes 24 hours for the earth to complete one rotation, a point on the equator moves the distance of about 40,000 kilometers during that period. Now how is this? We know that the circumference of the earth is 40,000 kilometers. So if we take any point on the equator, it would move a distance of 40,000 kilometers during the period of rotation, that is 24 hours. The speed of movement of a point at the equator is about 1670 kilometers per hour. Now this speed decreases as we move away from the equator towards the poles, and near the poles actually the relative speed of the earth is 0. Okay, so the speed of movement of a point at the equator is the maximum. It is about 1670 kilometers per hour. Due to the spherical shape, the speed of rotation decreases both to the north and south of the equator. And at the two poles, which are the two ends of the imaginary axis, there is no relative movement due to the rotation. Now what are the effects of Earth's rotation? The rotation of the Earth is responsible for following major effects. The first one is rotation of the Earth causes the alternation of day and night. So if there is day in one part of the earth, the other part will experience night. And again, as the circle of illumination moves away from the lighted portion to the darkened portion, we will find that the portion which had night will have day, and the portion which had day will have night. So it is an alternation that the day and night phenomena occurs over the earth's surface. Rotation of the earth is responsible for difference in time between different places on the earth. The difference in time is 4 minutes for each degree of longitude. So 24 hours divided by 360. So this we have studied in the previous lesson in chapter 2, that the rotation of the earth is responsible for difference in time for each degree of longitude. In per degree of longitude, the time difference is 4 minutes. Due to the rotation of the earth from west to east, the sun, the moon, the planets and the stars appear to move from east to west across the sky. Now, we have already discussed about this particular concept, that since the earth rotates from west to east, that means the movement is taking place towards the east. All the heavenly objects which are below the eastern horizon will gradually start coming up the horizon into the sky. So the heavenly objects will appear in the sky from the east and they will move towards the west. That is how the moon, the sun, the planets and the stars appear to move from east to west across the sky. The fourth one, the sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west. This apparent movement of the sun and the other heavenly bodies are in a direction opposite to that of the rotation of the earth. This is similar to what you observe through the window of a moving train. The trees, the houses and the fields on either side of the railway track appear to move in a direction opposite to that of the speeding train. The fifth point is the rotation of the earth is considered responsible for slight flattening of the earth at the two poles and the bulging at the equator. The equatorial diameter of the earth is 43 kilometers longer than the polar diameter. Now I will just give you an example, children, to explain this, that the rotation or the spinning of the earth on its axis causes the earth to assume such a typical shape. It is flattened at the poles and it is bulged near the equator. You may have seen a potter at work. The lump of mud the potter takes and places on the wheel and starts spinning the wheel. You will see that gradually the shape that lump of mud assumes is just like the slight flattening at the poles and the bulging at the equator of the earth. And that is how, due to the rotation, the impact of its rotation causes the earth to be flattened at the two poles, and obviously it will bulge at the equator. Now, Coriolis effect. The rotation of the earth causes the deflection of winds and ocean currents from the normal path to the right of their course in the northern hemisphere and to the left of their course in the southern hemisphere. And the ocean currents also, they also experience a deflection. The ocean current in the northern hemisphere will move in a clockwise direction, and in the southern hemisphere they move in a anti-clockwise direction. Kindly note this, that the ocean currents also get deflected from the normal path. They move in a clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and anti-clock in the southern hemisphere. This deflection is due to the effect of the Coriolis force. The occurrence of tides in the oceans twice daily and their westward progress are the results of the rotation of the earth. So the occurrence of the tide is also due to the rotation of the earth, particularly their movement towards the progress towards the west is also because of the rotation of the earth. Now let's study about the revolution of the earth. And we have already studied in the beginning of this chapter that the revolution of the earth is the movement of the earth around the sun. It takes place in a time duration of 365 and 1/4 days, which is called as a year. The earth revolves around the sun in an elliptical orbit, and ellipse is an elongated circle, and this is the reason why the distance between the earth and the sun does not remain the same throughout its journey around the sun. The second one, the period taken for one revolution is about 365 1/4 days. A normal year has only 365 days. The remaining fraction of 1/4 days is added once in 4 years to make a leap year of 366 days. The year 2000 was a leap year. When will you get another leap year? In a leap year, the month of February has 29 days instead of normal 28 days. So this is about the leap year. Due to the elliptical orbit, the distance between the earth and the sun varies from a minimum of 147 million kilometers to a maximum of 152 million kilometers. So this minimum distance between the sun and the earth is termed as perihelion, and the maximum distance of the sun and the earth is called as the aphelion. The minimum distance is reached on about 3rd January when the earth is closest to the sun. This position is known as the perihelion. Peri means near and helion means sun. Please underline it, it's important. The distance, minimum distance is at 147 million kilometers, and this is the time when the sun and the earth are nearest to each other. The date is 3rd January and it is termed as perihelion. The earth is at the maximum distance from the sun on about 4th July. This position is known as aphelion. Ap means away and helion means sun. The difference in distance between the perihelion and the aphelion position is only 5 million kilometers. This is quite small considering the average distance of about 150 million kilometers between the earth and the sun. So this particular phenomena of the earth being at a distance from the sun and being nearest distance from the sun does not have any impact on the heat that is transmitted by the sun to the earth. It is a very minor difference of only 5 million kilometers, which is comparative to 150 million kilometers, which is the distance from the sun and the earth is almost negligible. Okay. The earth moves more quickly in the orbit when it is in perihelion than it does when the earth is in aphelion. So that's all for today. Stay tuned till I resume the next class. Take care. Thank you.